all of you, we need you. We need you desperately to make sure that Xavier survives another 100 and another 100 and another 100 years beyond that. There are forces at play that would say we don't belong and we don't deserve in all things. And we have to vehemently reject that notion. Yes. And that starts with us pouring back into the university.
From the Office of Institutional Advancement and Alumni Relations, this is Xavier Gold Live, the podcast highlighting stories of leadership, impact, and the Xavier spirit.
Welcome to Xavier Gold Live, your front row seat to the stories of Xavier alumni transforming passion into purpose. I'm Jemiah Stewart, a psychology major exploring the world of mass communication as my minor, hailing from the great city of Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Amaya Sanford, a proud mass communication major from the Atlanta, Georgia. Together, we're committed to uncovering the stories, legacies, and lived experiences that continue to shape Xavier University.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Xavierites. We're so glad to be back with you on Xavier Gold Live.
Yes, we hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. We were talking earlier about some of our own highlights and what we're most thankful for this year, especially during the centennial celebration.
Exactly. It's been a huge year for Xavier, and honestly, we just want to take a moment to express how grateful we are for our amazing alumni and friends. Your time, your talents, your gifts, they're what kept this university thriving and allowed our students to shine.
Period. Xavier wouldn't be Xavier without the community behind it. And as we look ahead, the next century is looking bright. There's already talk amongst alumni about, let's just call it a little Sin 10 plus 1 energy in the atmosphere.
We're not calling it that exactly, but y'all know what we mean. The momentum is real and it's only getting stronger.
On this episode, we welcome Vadis QV Webster, a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, and a proud Xavier University, Louisiana alumna with degrees in chemistry and counseling. For over 25 years, QV has served as director of Xavier's pre-medical program, advising and mentoring generations of pre-health students on their journeys to medical, dental, and other health professions schools. A licensed professional counselor, member of both the Louisiana Counseling Association and the National Association of Advisors for the Health Professors. QV leads the university's Premedical Office, a cornerstone of Xavier's national reputation as a top producer of Black medical school graduates, a success story highlighted in the New York Times Magazine. Dedicated to equity, excellence, and student empowerment, QV continues to advance the mission of St. Catherine Drexel through her commitment to preparing competent, compassionate, and purpose-driven health professionals who will shape a more just and humane society.
Let's jump right in. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This is a good change of pace for me.
So we're just going to jump right in. I'm just going to go right there. What challenges have you faced leading such a critical program, and how have you stayed motivated through all of this?
There are many hundreds of students who want to go on to medical, mostly medical, dental, and other types of health profession schools. But the reality is everyone won't gain admission. And so it's disheartening when you have students who fight so hard for this and they don't make it. Xavier is known for being a leader, a national leader across this country and helping students gain admission into and graduate our alumni from medical school. Mm-hmm. But the reality on my side of that table is there are hundreds and hundreds of students over the years who do everything that we tell them to do and they still don't get in, right? Mm-hmm. And so, some of those students will reapply and do post-bac and do those types of things and get in, but there are also those who don't and have to pivot. And I always say there is power in the pivot that I've learned from Xavier. Even for students who start off freshman year, you have 1,600 plus pre-meds. They go in different directions, and that's okay. I'm a 100% supporter of students who want to go on and do something different, right? And so it is a challenge to watch those students work so hard and not get in, but I am very much so encouraged by the fact that students will find their way, whatever that pathway may be. And I'm also encouraged when my students who do make it, right? You have students going to med schools every year, dental school, podiatry, physical therapy, PA, physician assistant is really big now. We have students every year going into those programs and successfully completing those programs. Mm-hmm. March, for example, is a really, really good month for us because it's when our students who went on to medical school do medical match. It's where they find out where they're going to do their residency programs. So coming off of a long fall semester, a long spring semester, I don't know if I have it in me left to keep going, as we approach finals. To get to mid-March and hear back from my former students, some of whom I never thought would make it, letting me know that, hey, Miss QV, I matched in residency. That's what make it all worth it for me. It really, really, really is a mission of love. And even through the challenges and adversity, there is still hope to be had among our students, even when they don't make it to that initial desired pathway. Exactly.
I know you touched on how sometimes the reality of it can be disheartening, and you also did kind of touch on how it can be rewarding, but can you tell me some more on what are maybe some of the most rewarding moments you've experienced in your role as director of the pre-medical program?
Oh, I've been doing this for 25 years, y'all. I've been doing this 25 years. There's one moment that really stands out to me just right now because we're coming off of the 20th celebration of Hurricane Katrina. And I was here during that time, I was not stuck on campus like a lot of other people. I managed to be able to get out with my family, albeit at the very last minute I left. I was not subjected to the same things most of the city of New Orleans who stayed was subjected to. But I remember being evacuated in Alabama by a relative's house and seeing all the footage. And out of that footage, I saw one of my students being rescued from a roof of her grandmother's house. And so that student ended up going on to Meharry Medical College School of Dentistry. She became a dentist. She's big time now. And she was, the footage from that was also featured on When the Levees Broke, the Spike Lee documentary, the first one. And so every time it comes on, I see it. And even with this 20th anniversary, we had to look at it again, right? We had to see it again in different documentaries. And so to fast forward to where she was to where she is now, like I said, big time dentist practicing in a specialty area. She visited on a whim when she came home not that long ago. And it's just like, I always go back to her being rescued from the roof. I mean, it's proverbial. It's like, here it is. It's you made it to the other side, literally and figuratively in your career. And so, again, it's things like that that make it worth it, that make me get out of the car when I pull up in the NCF parking. But it's so very worth it. I mean, if we had time, I have a million stories.
I'm sure.
And success stories to tell about our students.
Yeah, that's real. I think that's really important that you're able to be in such a position and understand students outside of the classroom. And as a licensed counselor, you're able to bring like a really unique perspective to advising. So How does that background influence the way that you not only support students' academic growth, but their emotional growth as well?
Oh my goodness. It fosters a type of intrusive advising. I don't have a lot of time with students. Students are in classes, and I'm not teaching any classes, right? I'm just doing the consultation, collaboration of advising them, guiding them through the application process for health profession school. So I already know I'll have one moment in time, and a lot of times they run away from me. If y'all have friends who are pre-meds, y'all know, God, I hate them, whatever. So I may not get them back. So it's being able to take all of these skills, these listening skills and these redirecting skills and these reframing skills that I've acquired through my counseling degree and counseling practice to try to put it all in a 25, 30-minute session to get them to see things. Another thing I do is reinforce a lot by email because, like I said, they may not come back. They're like, the dream crusher got me, But a lot of reinforcement saying, hey, just following up, checking on you, seeing how you're doing. I know that was a lot that we discussed when we met today. But like I said, redirecting and reframing. The detours are not derailments, and it's important for students to know that. A lot of times students get stuck in their heads with this very just parochial tunnel vision where if it doesn't happen just like this, if I don't get into med school the year I graduate from Xavier, I'm like, you might not be about to graduate from Xavier at this time anyway, so we got to redirect and you know, adjust the timeline anyway, and it's fine. And I try to normalize that by way of my interfacing with students, to let them know this situation is not unique to you. And in fact, we start having the conversation of you may have to pivot or change the timeline as early as freshman year. Again, trying to normalize it and say, you're not the only one who having to do this. Let's do it and get it right. Exactly.
So I'm not a pre-med student myself, but based off what you said and the many friends that I have that are pre-med, I know it's really rigorous, but with community service being such a core part of Xavier's identity, how do you encourage students to see service not just as a requirement, but part of who they are for their health profession also?
That is an excellent question.
Thank you.
Y'all are good. So when students go before admissions committees, regardless of the type of health profession they're applying to, there are two questions that they're trying to answer. One, can this student actually handle the academic rigor of whatever type of school they're trying to get into, right? The second question, only asked if the answer to that first question is yes, will you be a good physician, dentist, optometrist, podiatrist, nurse, PA, PT, whatever? And so in answering that second question, that's where these schools are going to look deep into who this student is as a person. Could we see them being an asset to their future patient population? These are the things that go beyond just what's your GPA and what's your entrance exam score, which is so, so important in this process, right? And so there are doctors right now today who are brilliant, who have the worst bedside mannerism and disposition about them, and they're not good for their patients, right? And so the competency and compassion necessary to be a good healthcare provider, that comes from the experiences our students engage in. And they're gonna tell you, pre-meds are gonna say, they're constantly saying, you gotta do a summer program, you gotta get experience through shadowing or volunteering or just being in a clinical space. And yes, I'm gonna say that first and foremost, always. But second to that is just doing things that you really enjoy, you know, being of service, because at the core, health professions are service. It is service to humanity, right? And so we encourage students to not just think of it as a checklist of things that they ought to be doing, but things that they find meaningful to them, things that they see as allowing them to develop the competencies that these health profession schools deem as essential for entering health profession school students and eventually as practitioners. Collaborative nature, ability to accept feedback, just all these different competencies that they say are at the helm of the profession, right? I encourage students to understand how each of the things, each of the service organizations or other activities they engage in, as they're engaging, proactively think about, how am I demonstrating this competency that these people are telling me I need to be able to demonstrate by way of these interviews and the admissions process, right? So a student working at Old Navy, because he or she needs money to pay their Xavier tuition, right?
Absolutely.
That student can still develop the competencies that they need to be deemed a qualified applicant for a health profession school, right? In their service, you know, adopt a grandparent or whatever it is they're doing, they still should be developing those competencies, cultivating those competencies that would make them good for the profession. And so no matter what activities you engage in, you should be able to show how this skill I'm gaining is transferable, whatever type of thing I decide to do in my life.
I totally agree with that. Being that service is such an essential part, it also makes it a part of your overall Xavier experience.
Absolutely.
Like service, literally service Saturday, like getting up in that early, you might not want to do it. You might not want to go to Gumbo Garden. You might not want to go to adopt a grandparent, but those skills and that experience is what makes up your time at Xavier.
Now, on another note, mark your calendars because the 2026 Alumni Travel Zoom is coming up, and the destinations this year are Chef's Kiss.
Look, I'm already mentally packing my suitcase. I mean, we got a girls' trip to Antigua on the table, a Broadway getaway, a return to Martha's Vineyard,
and a whole trip to Greece to walk in the footsteps of the Apostle Paul. Like, that's legendary.
If you ever wanted to travel with fellow Xavierites or reconnect with old friends while seeing the world, this is your moment.
So make sure you tap in, join the Zoom, and start dreaming about where Xavier is taking you next.
So, going into that, after looking into your profession and the major influence that you have made beyond Xavier's campus, we'd love for you to take a blast from the past and relive your experience. The year is 2000. Aaliyah has the girls in a chokehold. Everybody is watching Love and Basketball, and FUBU is taking the world by storm. What was New Orleans and Xavier like during your time on campus from your best recollection?
Let me see. Oh my, what a time to be alive. You know, it wasn't just Love and Basketball and Aaliyah. It was Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 and the 2000. Hello, class of 2000. Whoop, whoop, 25 years. Oh my God, it was amazing. And as a student, you know, student first, academics was the priority. My friends and I, my core group, we always said, you know, through the rigorous pre-med curriculum, I was chem pre-med, most of my friends were as well, but I was friends with the bio pre-med, psych pre-meds, people down here at Xavier South, we were always also cool because we had some classes down here. We always told ourselves, we got to get through this G-Chem, we got to get through this organic, we got to get through this physics. And as a reward, so whatever party they're having, Friday, Saturday, Thursday night, we're going to go. But it was always get your schoolwork done first, right? And so I can remember Thursday night, I think it was called at the House of Blues Sin Night, or it was called, whatever it was called. I know I had class on that Friday. I can remember having Dr. Privet's general chemistry class on the Friday morning. But we said we're going to commit and we're going to do it, right? We would be out all night. And we probably rolled into class with those stamps from the club and armbands still on. It's like, yeah, you had that on last night, but guess what? I'm present and accounted for right now. You know? And it was a beautiful thing to see the collective come together to support each other. That's something, you know, even today I still see. It's not, you know, that matter of look to your left, look to your right, somebody's not going to be here. It's like your responsibilities for that person on your left and your right to make sure we get there. Exactly. Let's get there together. But, oh, my God, somebody just posted on Instagram about Snappy. There was this food truck that used to be outside of the dorms and then administration building, local New Orleans. So it had everything you wanted from New Orleans. It was like hot sausage sandwiches, smoked sausage sandwiches. Oh my God, hot dogs for $1. It was all sorts of things. So everybody will be in that line because I'm a local student, right? I'm not a commuter. I mean, I'm a commuter. I'm not in the dorms. And so that was our space to go stand in line and get a hot sausage with cheese, a smoked sausage with mayo, you know, and some fries. Snappy was the business. Y'all need to look it up. You know, y'all too uppity right now. Y'all have amenities like Chick-fil-A and stuff.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We're a little spoiled.
But no, it was so great. We had Spring Fest, and our Spring Fest wasn't like y'all's Spring Fest, okay? I don't know where the budget went, but we had rides. We had amusement park rides in the faculty parking lot next to NCF. It was a citywide event. They would advertise Xavier Spring Fest on local radio stations.
We need to bring that back.
Yeah.
Costco, the space that Costco was a strip mall, a big strip mall, and cars would be parked all in that strip mall to come to our Spring Fest. I remember coming when I was in high school. Trying to be grown. Coming when I was in high school, and it was rides, and we had national recording artists, and it was so great. Now, homecoming wasn't a thing, but we had Spring Fest. But, I mean, it was great, and it was great because it was in this space where you had all these brilliant and intelligent people who were also, as y'all say, ratchet at the same time. Two things can be true at one time. And it was beautiful, and the way we could code switch and maneuver and navigate in these different spaces and still belong, it was a beautiful thing.
It sounds like
it was a beautiful thing.
It does. It sounds like y'all had a time. It really does. It sounds like y'all
and see, we didn't have this social media where all our business was out for the world to see.
We was just living in the moment.
Oh. It was great.
I love that. Now, you touched on how campus was while you were there, but what did being a Xavierite mean to you then, and how has that meaning evolved for you over time?
I don't know so much that it evolved for me, other than the fact that now it's even more poignant than ever, because I see what it can do for students as they're trying to reach their goals now that I'm on the other side of things, right? Because when you're in it as a student, these concepts, you know, the pushing through, and it gets greater later, and, you know, adversity will come, but you can get over it. When you're sitting in it, it doesn't feel like that. Yeah. And so those are the things that, as a Xavier student, they taught us, but even as an employee now, 25 years in the game, as you know, director of pre-med, I see it the same but differently. It's just different because of my position, but the same because it's the same thing they were preaching to us before. One of the biggest things is, you know, adjuvante non temendum. Like, I mean, you don't have to be religious
to understand
that, you know? And so just pushing through, sometimes the higher power is the people around you that push you to be better, that hold you accountable, that don't walk on eggshells, and they tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's been the credo of the Premedical Office since Dr. Carmichael started the program in the 1970s. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not going to tell you what you need to hear, because that's what's going to help you, right? And so Xavier taught us not to fear, to do it afraid. St. Catherine Drexel said, do they too not deserve the best? Xavier has been Black Lives Matter before it was a thing.
Yes.
You know, Xavier has been radically active in telling us that we are enough, we're more than enough. And that still holds true today. It really does.
I like that you brung up the late Dr. J.W. Carmichael, because I feel like a lot of his students who I've talked to, a lot of people who are around and underneath him, they have such a strong love for him and his advising. And I feel like that just speaks volumes to Xavier's mission so many years later. Xavier's pre-medical program has such a rich history, like you said, beginning in the 70s under his leadership. And with the inaugural J.W. Carmichael Symposium happening during Homecoming 2025, how do you see his legacy further influencing the work that you and your team do with students today?
Xavier Pre-Med is all J.W. Carmichael. He planted a seed. Like I said, Catherine Drexel said, do they too not deserve the best? And that's what he said as well. No, he didn't come into Xavier saying, oh, let me go lead them to national accolades of getting Black students into med school. This is a little white man who just wanted to teach general chemistry and drink beer on Bourbon Street, as he always, every chance he got, he would say that. But he saw a need. He said, here it is, I'm teaching all these students general chemistry, and they're telling me they want to go into med school, and I don't know anything about that. And whoever was in place at the time that was supposed to be doing pre-med advising, he didn't hold his tongue. Dr. Carmichael never held his tongue, and I'm going to keep it PG. But he's like, they're not doing a thing to get them where they need to be. And so Dr. Francis said, okay, well, you do it. And the rest is really literally history. This is someone who had no airs about him. He didn't care what other people thought. He was very unassuming, and I think that was a part of his appeal to students. Nobody expected him to be this little raggedy, foul-mouthed, under 5 foot white man leading all these young Black students into medical school, right? Nobody expected them, and I think that was a part of how he got the work done. People didn't mess with him. They weren't bothered with him. And so he was a natural problem solver, and he was able to jump in and spend his days, nights, weekends. His everything was Xavier. I've never seen someone with that type of commitment in all my life. He never got married, never had kids, because Xavier was his wife, and these were his children, you know. And so he made it his life's mission to help as many students from Xavier get into med school, dental school, whatever type of school they wanted to get into, and do well and successfully complete those programs. So he was uniquely positioned because he was a chemistry professor, so he was able to make strides in the classroom, but also on the outside when it came to pre-med advising. I'm not a faculty member. I solely do the advising, for the application support for our pre-med students. But he had the respect, and sometimes People feared him across the board, from his colleagues and people just even outside of Xavier. It was the Carmichael method. You know, again, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You might be mad. I'm telling your mama. That was another tactic. He would call parents.
Really?
Send letters. Oh, yeah. FERPA. What? FERPA who? Oh, no. He said those who pay ought to know what the going on.
Hey, he got a point.
And so now it's a little bit different. I do that, they'll fire me. But he was able to get that done, and it worked. Look at where we are.
Yeah.
Look at where we are. I mean, he created a Wakanda for us before we even know about that. Like, vibranium was what was happening at Xavier.
And all of that, everything you just said shows dedication. You calling my parents? Oh my goodness!
You're right. It was that was when the village was activated.
Yes.
Y'all,
It takes a village.
the people get mad when you call the village. Like, you can't do that. I'm a grown up.
It's needed sometimes.
It do be.
It needs sometimes.
You need that reality check. You do.
Absolutely. So I need y'all. So y'all remember that when your little friends come to y'all talking about pre-med, this pre-med. Remember this conversation.
Yeah, I really will. I really will. Now, you not only work here at Xavier now, but you also have been a student at Xavier. So I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Xavier has a special place in your heart.
Y'all don't understand, man. Oh my God. You know, I say that my relationship with Xavier was arranged and then eventually became ordained.
I like that.
I do too.
And so the reason I say that is because, you know, before I graduated in 2000 and then got my master's in 2010, way back in the 80s, my daddy made me come here for a summer, not a summer, it was a school year math program. I was in elementary school, and it was an every Saturday program called Math Explorers. And I remember this vividly. I'm like, I don't want to go to that. It's Saturday.
I want to be.
It's
outside.
mine. We have cartoons and things. You know, it was safe to be outside back then.
Yeah.
And so we playing. I got cousins. Come on. But no, he said, nope, you're going to this program. And I reluctantly went. That was my introduction to this place, to this sacred place. I can remember being in the administration building. I can smell it right here as I'm talking to you. Wow. This is when we still had chalkboards. Y'all know what, like, chalk is,
Yes.
LA. I'm just checking, okay? But we had chalkboards, and I could smell it. It's like an old building. It was a very intimidating building.
It still is.
You know, it's like, ooh, spooky.
Eerie.
I feel we need to play a theme song. I think some theme from a horror movie. But I can remember being in there, and the guy walks in, and it's all little kids about to do math. And the guy, the instructor, he wasn't even an instructor per se. He was a Xavier student, right? Just looked so cool. I mean, he had like dreads, and he was dressed real hip, whatever the hip clothes were of that time, he had that on. And I'm like, I'm in the Ninth Ward. We're not seeing this kind of stuff where I'm at. I'm like, who this? And so at the same time, I think a different world had come on. That's probably around when the first season aired, like 87. So I already know it's like, oh, this is looking like that show. And I think it was a very orchestrated and strategic plan by my daddy, who's, rest in peace, no longer with us. But I think it was his plan to be like, oh, she likes that show. Let me put her in this space. Okay? It was the same time my brother, who's 9 years older than me, he too is a Xavier graduate. He was enrolled, but he's 9 years my senior. You don't want to talk to me. So I don't know anything. I don't know you. But Math Explorers opened the door for me for Xavier. Again, that was arranged. I didn't ask to come here. My dad brought me here, and J.W. Carmichael kept me. That's what it amounted to. And so from the Math Explorers program, it went into Dr. Carmichael's programs with the Math Star program, Chem Star, SOAR 1, where we're on campus with people from across the country. Yes. And so Howard Hughes, it was a program that's no longer in play right now, but it was where select students were invited to take general chemistry that summer before they enrolled at Xavier as full-time students. And so here it is. We've already been developing our place and space at Xavier, friend groups and all of this. It was a magnificent time, you know. And again, I'm uniquely positioned because I've been coming here since the 80s. So while it's 25 years as an employee, 96 is when I entered as a student, a full-time student. Xavier has been home for a long time, y'all. It's been home.
As someone who can call Xavier home through thick and thin, I mean, you said you were starting here at 9.
Yes.
So you've seen not only this side as a student, but you've also seen as an employee. But it is very important that we talk about you as an alum as well. And you have a brother that's an alum. In your opinion, why do you think it's important for Xavier alumni to remain actively involved in the mission and the community of Xavier?
We are Xavier.
Yes.
Xavier is nothing without those of us who know Xavier and appreciate Xavier. We have got to pour in to this place. We see HBCUs shutting down, being defunded day by day. It's real. It's real. We never know whose number is going to be up next. And it's going to be up to us to keep this going, to keep this legacy going for future generations. We can't rely on other people. That's why HBCUs were created. We cannot put our faith in other people. We have got to be self-sufficient, and that starts with all of these thousands of physicians and dentists, optometrists, podiatrists, physical therapists, other health professionals, health administrators. All of you, we need you. We need you desperately to make sure that Xavier survives another 100 and another 100 and another 100 years beyond that. There are forces at play that would say we don't belong and we don't deserve in all things. And we have to vehemently reject that notion. Yes. And that starts with us pouring back into the university.
I agree 1,000%.
I agree too. And I always say the alumni love is so felt and needed so and respected. And it really does help. It really does help. I think maybe freshman year I took it for granted.
I definitely did.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, oh, these old people.
I know you did.
Yeah, trying to come back.
But now,
here they go.
But now that we have things like the podcast, like where we get to sit down with you guys and relive y'all experiences with y'all, it's like, dang, now I'm gonna be the.
And you're gonna be sitting right here.
I'm gonna be the alumni.
Y'all gonna be these big time executives for these networks, and y'all gonna be the ones. I can't be in person. I'll have to call into the podcast. I'm too great. Just make sure you write them Xavier checks when y'all blow up. Okay.
Will. Okay, it is now time for my favorite portion of the podcast. It's now time to rush our gold guest into answering some rapid fire questions. This segment of the podcast is called the Live 5. We will ask you 5 questions we think our gold community would love to know. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, first question. Who inspires you most today?
I'm still most inspired by my mentor, J.W. Carmichael Jr.
Favorite Xavier event that you've never missed?
I just have to go back to Spring Fest.
Favorite professor you had at Xavier?
You can be biased.
I gotta do 2. I'm gonna say Dr. Tawanda Jordan and also Dr. Michelle Boissiere.
Favorite memory as a student at Xavier?
I was on Global Grooves, MTV's Global Grooves.
I'm gonna go
and still maintain a fire GPA.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Well, again, it was a pleasure connecting with you, a fellow alumnus, through conversation. How can our growing gold community connect with you online?
Look for me in the Premedical Office. I'm on Instagram 5+4. That's the number 5 PLUS4. I got Gmail. But yes, I'm in the Pre-Med office. You can always contact me, connect with me that way.
QV, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank y'all. Y'all did so well.
You did too. XU, you know what to do.
Subscribe and rate the show today and join us, the Xavier Gold Live podcast, on the first Tuesday of every month to stay up to date with all things alumni.
Follow at XULA Alumni on Instagram and subscribe to our monthly alumni newsletter.
Until next time, Xavierites.